Once a teenage girl who crushed the entire tennis world, only to suddenly collapse on court from a knife wound in the back by a crazed fan. Once hidden away in a room, consumed by obsessive cravings and debilitating depression, and then rising again in a body weakened by an autoimmune disease, it sounds more like a literary tragedy than the true story of a sports legend's life. Millions would have likely given up, succumbing to such agonizing pain, before the engulfing darkness swallowed all hope. Yet today, she stands tall across million-dollar estates in Florida and New York, cruises on luxury yachts, flies on a private jet alongside her billionaire husband, is honored in the Hall of Fame, and inspires thousands as an enduring icon. How did she manage to rise from the darkest abyss? What secret allowed a girl repeatedly knocked down by fate to still reach glory, instead of throwing away her racket and sinking into the darkness? That is the miraculous journey we will explore today. The story of Monica Seles, the indomitable queen of world tennis. Childhood on a Novi Sad parking lot. If you saw Monica Seles today, stepping out of a spacious Florida home, gently walking her dog, it would be hard to believe that everything began on a gray parking lot in Novi Sad, where the tennis court lines were temporarily marked with white chalk on cracked asphalt. Novi Sad in the 1970s was still part of Yugoslavia, a city on the banks of the Danube, peaceful but with the heavy feeling of the post-war socialist era. On December 2nd, 1973, in a small apartment, a girl was born into a Hungarian minority family, Monica. Her father was Karol, her mother Esther, and her older brother Zoltan. The family wasn't wealthy, but the home was filled with newspapers, pencils, drawing paper, and the sports stories Karol passionately recounted to his children. Karol was a well-known cartoonist and illustrator in Novi Sad, drawing for papers like Magyar So and Dnevnik. He loved art as much as he loved sports, especially tennis. When Zoltan started practicing, his little sister Monica stood on the sidelines, her eyes wide, watching the balls fly back and forth, both curious about and envious of the small trophies on the shelf. Few would have guessed that this tiny, shy girl would be the one to change the history of women's tennis. Around the age of 5 to 6, Monica first picked up a racket. There weren't many courts to rent. Novi Sad only had a few clay courts back then, usually packed with adults. So, Karol came up with highly DIY solutions. He strung a rope across 2 cars parked in the alley and marked the baseline with chalk on the parking lot surface, transforming the residence parking spot into the family's private center court. To make practice less boring, the artist's father used his own pen. He drew Jerry the mouse, Tom the cat, baby rabbits, Mickey, and Donald Duck onto old, worn-out tennis balls. For Monica, the drill was no longer hit the target spot, but hit Jerry, then hit Tom. Those powerful swings, accompanied by the small grunt that naturally escaped her throat, began to emerge during those afternoons. The Seles family life revolved around 2 things: Karol's newspaper deadlines and the practice sessions on the parking lot, to buy rackets, strings, and shoes. He sometimes had to drive all day to Italy, a nearly 10-hour round trip, just to bring back a few better rackets for his 2 children. In their small apartment, the old rackets were carefully lined up, their grips wrapped in tape, like treasured artifacts, whenever a string broke. Monica looked at her father with a sense of apprehension, understanding how many extra hours he would have to work to replace it. Monica entered small local tournaments early on. At 9, she won her first championship. Though she admitted she didn't fully understand the scoring system then, she only knew keep hitting, keep running, keep shouting, and find every way to keep the ball in play longer than her opponent. Cheap plastic trophies began to appear on the shelf, competing with her father's cartoons. Then, in 1980, at the age of 11, she left her world for the first time to touch the American dream. A trip to Miami for the Junior Orange Bowl. On paper, it was just a junior tournament, but for Monica, it was a doorway to a different universe. Beautiful courts, new balls, opponents from all over the world. She unexpectedly won the championship, defeating young players who were much more systematically prepared. In the stands, a bald man wearing sunglasses watched intently. That was Nick Bollettieri, who would later bring the entire Seles family to Florida. And from the Balzakova Ulika parking lot of yesteryear, Monica Seles' journey to conquer the world officially entered a new chapter. From phenomenon to enduring icon. When Nick Bollettieri invited the Seles family to Florida, it wasn't just a chance for a better life, it was almost a one-way ticket. Imagine yourself in their shoes leaving Novi Sad. The familiar language, friends, and even the parking lot that had become center court. For a distant country with exactly one clear asset, the racket in the 11, 12-year-old girl's hand. At the Bollettieri Academy, Monica quickly stood out, small in stature, but her two-handed strokes on both sides were like sledgehammers, and the grunt accompanying every swing made everyone on the court turn their heads. At 14, she played a few professional tournaments. In early 1989, she officially went on tour, entering a world she had only seen on television before. And she didn't come to be a backdrop. Just months later. Still in 1989, Monica won her first WTA title in Houston, defeating Chris Evert herself in the final, the legend she had only known through her father's newspaper illustrations and stories throughout her childhood. By that year's Roland Garros, she had reached the Grand Slam semifinal in her very first attempt, finishing the season ranked world number 6. At just 16, she was already among the names every player had to watch. In 1990, the real storm began. Monica won the Roland Garros title, becoming the youngest champion in the tournament's history at 16. From 1990 to 92, Seles won 8 women's singles Grand Slams, 3 Australian Opens, 3 Roland Garroses, and 2 US Opens. Believe it or not, all of this happened before she turned 20, at her peak, from the 1990 French Open to the 1993 Australian Open. Monica won 8 out of 11 Grand Slams. She entered a performance that led many experts to believe she could have become the greatest female player in history had things gone smoothly. In March 1991, Monica ascended to world number 1, holding the top spot in the WTA rankings for a total of 178 weeks, finishing the year at number 1 3 times. But then came the fateful day that changed her entire life and broke the history of women's tennis. April 30, 1993 in Hamburg. During the quarterfinal match against Magdalena Malieva, while sitting on a changeover with her back to the stands, a man rushed down and stabbed a knife directly into Monica's back. Some reporters at the time recounted that, for the first few seconds, they thought it was some kind of tournament stunt, until they saw the blood soaking through her light-colored uniform. The physical wound was stitched up, but her career was abruptly halted. For over 2 years, Monica was absent from every tournament. During that time, Steffi Graf returned to dominance, winning 6 of the 10 Grand Slams Seles missed. Rankings and statistics began to redraw history without her name in the biggest events. Many would have collapsed entirely then. Monica was different. In 1999, after becoming a U.S. citizen in 1994, she decided to return. The WTA debated whether to keep her number 1 ranking. Eventually reaching a compromise, Seles and Graf would share the co-number 1 position initially. But what people remember is not the ranking discussion, but how she stepped out onto the court at the Canadian Open, her first tournament after the Hamburg incident. The announcer's voice rang out her name, and the stands rose in a standing ovation. Monica didn't just play well, she played as if she had never left, winning streak after streak, taking the title while losing a total of only 14 games, a record still mentioned today. The following month, she reached the US Open final, and in early 1996, she won the Australian Open, her 9th and final Grand Slam. After that, her results graph began to curve downward. Her body endured more injuries. Her mind was no longer as sharp, always shadowed by the fear from the stands. Monica still reached the Roland Garros final in 1998, won a bronze medal at the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and clinched a few more WTA titles. But the unbeatable feeling had left with the knife wound in Hamburg. In 2003, she played her last professional match at Roland Garros, quietly withdrawing from the tour for a few years before officially announcing her retirement in 2008, a year later. In 2009, Monica Seles was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. After the Hall of Fame, Monica's career took a new direction. She wrote her memoir, Getting a Grip, recounting her depression and binge eating disorder after the stabbing, discussing how sports was both a weapon and a healing balm. She participated in television programs, worked as a speaker, became the face of a campaign to raise awareness about binge eating, and more recently, the autoimmune disease myasthenia gravis MG, a rare muscle disease she was diagnosed with around 2022 and publicly shared in 2025. If the 1990-1993 period was the world #1 player career, then from 2008 until now, Monica Seles' career has been the journey of a storyteller, using her glory and her trauma to light the way for those struggling with mental pain, chronic illness, and sets that can't be measured by a scoreboard. And that journey, as of 2025, is still ongoing. The 32-year age gap, marriage, and money scandal. Many assumed Monica Seles' life after retirement would be peaceful, financially secure. Her name already cemented in history. Yet, just when everything seemed most stable, she entered a new chapter even more controversial than her Grand Slam finals, her relationship with an American billionaire 32 years her senior. Tom Golisano, the name associated with Monica since 2009, is no ordinary man. He is the founder of Paychex, a payroll and human resources services corporation, a former owner of the NHL's Buffalo Sabres, and a 3-time candidate for governor of New York State. A man born in 1941, wealthy enough that Forbes ranks him among America's billionaires. Standing next to the girl who was a teenage phenomenon at the 1990 Roland Garros, the contrast is a movie script in itself. They began dating around 2009. New York newspapers first ran the story when Golisano appeared next to Monica at charity events, later confirming he was dating a tennis star. Many tennis fans initially thought it was just a rumor. By 2014, when Golisano was 72-73 and Monica was around 40-41, he officially announced their engagement. While sports pages ran headlines like, "Seles nets herself a 72-year-old billionaire," you can guess the reaction. Right on one side, a legend who was stabbed on court, who spoke about depression and binge eating. On the other, a billionaire famous for hating taxes and willing to move his residence from New York to Florida to save tens of thousands of dollars a day in taxes. Public opinion immediately split, some congratulated. Others were curious, and some were mocking. The age difference was scrutinized no less than Monica's weight was scrutinized in the past. According to Celebrity Net Worth in his personal Forbes profile, Monica Seles married Tom Golisano in 2014 after about 5 years of dating. From then on, she fully entered the world of the American ultra-rich vacation homes on lakes in New York State, real estate in Florida, private flights, and multi-million-dollar fundraising galas. For someone who once practiced tennis on a parking lot in Novi Sad, this was practically a different universe. But the media storms Monica couldn't control came with the financial glamour. In 2017-2018, Golisano became the subject of nationwide ridicule when he publicly announced he wouldn't pay a school tax bill of about $90,000, $145,000 for his lake house on Canandaigua, because the front lawn was attacked by wild geese with their droppings. He sued the local government, arguing the droppings severely reduced his property's value, and only agreed to pay the taxes if the town dealt with the flock of geese. Besides her husband's tax scandal, Monica herself had been the focal point of major debates before, though she was the victim, not the cause. After the 1993 stabbing, the German court decided to only sentence Günter Parschi, the man who stabbed her from behind in Hamburg, to 2 years of probation and psychological treatment, on the grounds that he was mentally disturbed and would not reoffend. Parschi was actually only held in pretrial detention for a few months before being freed, living out the rest of his life in a nursing home. This decision outraged the sports world and the public. The victim lost 2 years of her career and carried lifelong trauma, while the attacker walked free. Subsequent legal analyses called this a classic example of a justice system's inexplicable leniency. The name Monica Seles, once again, appeared at the center of a debate about justice this time. Her role was as the person abandoned by the very system that should have protected her. On the other side of her personal life, Monica's scandals have a very human touch when she revealed her nearly 10-year struggle with binge eating disorder, her history of eating in shame and despair, and then became the spokesperson for the pharmaceutical company Shire, the producer of the first FDA-approved drug to treat this eating disorder. Some online comments suggested she was promoting drugs. But most fans saw a different angle. A person once so ashamed that she hid her illness from her own family was now brave enough to stand up and tell everything so that others could feel less alone. Affluent life compensating for emotional trauma. Behind every story about illness, the 1993 stabbing, or the life resets, there is a very concrete layer of reality. Monica Seles is one of the wealthiest female players in history, and that wealth is built on clear figures. In terms of pure tennis earnings, official WTA statistics in her own career archives record, Monica Seles earned it won $762,000 prize money during her career, with 53 WTA titles and 9 Grand Slams, achieving a singles win rate of nearly 83%. In '91, she set a record as the female player with the highest prize money earned in a single season, approximately $2.5 million from tournaments alone. Before her 17th birthday, Seles surpassed the $1 million prize money mark, putting her among the earliest earning female stars in WTA history. The compounding interest comes from off-court sources. Financial statistics from sources like Celebrity Net Worth, Economic Times, and 2024-2025 summaries consistently place Monica's net worth around $50 million, the figure that recurs across multiple sources. This is the result of prize money, sponsorship deals with sports equipment, apparel, and shoe companies, non-tennis endorsement contracts, book royalties, and post-retirement speaking engagements, coupled with personal financial investments. In Sarasota, Florida, she once owned a home of about 5,805,900 square feet in the exclusive Laurel Oak Country Club community, including the main house, a private tennis court, a pool, a garage, and a garden on a property of over 1.5 acres. The house was built in the early 1990s, associated with her throughout her career peak, and was listed for sale in 2014 for $185 million, finally closing at around $1.4 million in 2015. In an interview with a local newspaper during the sale, Monica stated the reason, frankly, the house is too big for me now, showing this was an asset she directly owned and managed for many years. On the other side of the U.S., investigations into her husband's taxes and real estate reveal that Monica is listed as the owner of a condo in Manhattan, New York, valued at approximately $800,000 with a property tax bill of about $4,000 per year. This apartment was used by the press as a point of comparison when contrasting the comfortable tax rate in New York City with the hefty taxes for large properties in upstate areas. This is Monica's northern base, a neat address, convenient for moving between media events, tournaments, and charity galas. Regarding cars, supercars, or collections, the key point is no serious source records Monica Seles owning a supercar garage like entertainment stars. The rare times her name is associated with the cars are in an event context, such as when she appeared and posed with a Mercedes pace car at the Miami Grand Prix in 2000. Based on what the press has disclosed, it can be said that Monica's spending style does not focus on showing off or racing supercars. Her husband, billionaire Tom Golisano, owns a 73-meter superyacht named Laurel, built by Delta Marine, which was once one of the largest private yachts built in the U.S. The Laurel is estimated to be worth $75 million, accommodating about 12 guests and over 20 crew members, with interiors designed by Donald Starkey, boasting every luxury of a 7-star hotel at sea. In a lawsuit related to the cost of redecorating the yacht, American media detailed that Monica Seles personally testified in court, recounting her shock over the cost of the interior furnishings during a 2014 voyage, to the point that there were too many pillows to sit comfortably on the seats. This small detail clearly shows, although the Laurel is an asset legally owned by Golisano, Monica uses and lives on the yacht as a personal retreat, a luxurious lifestyle involving the sea, a captain, and a professional service team. Besides the yacht, civil aviation records also show that Golisano owns a Gulfstream GVI registered N54TG, a luxury jet model worth tens of millions of dollars, typically used by billionaires for cross-continental flights. Again, the asset is in her husband's name, but in reality, Monica is the one accompanying him on these flights, attending Grand Slams as a guest, going to charity events, or simply traveling between Florida and New York, the Finger Lakes region, without needing to wait in airport security lines like ordinary people. Regarding the real estate on her husband's side, besides the lake house on Canandaigua in upstate New York, which spans about 5 acres, the couple also has a home in Naples, Florida. And what about the power parties? Instead of showing off nightclubs or loud yacht parties, Monica Seles' name appears most frequently in the context of charity galas, television talk shows, and sports entertainment events. Archives from the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and similar shows list her as a guest alongside names like Smokey Robinson, Tom and Roseanne Arnold, in episodes discussing celebrity party secrets from the 1980s-1990s in New York. She once shared a stage with Mayor David Dinkins and Mary Jo Fernandez in the Blue Tennis Court event on the deck of the Intrepid, a blend of sports, politics, and urban PR. If one were to zoom in purely on tangible assets, Monica Seles' portrait includes an estimated $50 million net worth, nearly $15 million in career prize money, formerly owned real estate in Sarasota, and an approximately $800,000 apartment in New York, along with the privilege of using the yacht Laurel, the Gulfstream private jet, and the lakeside mansion of her billionaire husband, not to mention a highly intangible soft asset, the ability to walk into any party room from a charity gala to a yacht deck as both a Grand Slam legend and a member of America's ultra-rich elite. The future still holds new sets. Her current life, viewed from the outside, has a very different rhythm from her 20s on tour. Instead of waking up early for practice, flying to Melbourne or Paris, Monica starts her day slower a morning in Florida with sunlight streaming through the window, a cup of coffee, and light exercises to keep her muscles from protesting due to myasthenia gravis. It's the same Monica, but her voice is slower, each word seemingly more carefully weighed. She talks about having to stop and rest during long walks, about not being able to play tennis with children as long as before, and about the persistent fatigue that outsiders find hard to understand. At home, the role of billionaire's wife is still there, with meetings, trips alongside Tom Golisano, and conversations about taxes, real estate, and charitable foundations. But with age, Monica seems to be drawn closer to her roots. The girl from Novi Sad once again finds joy in the very small things: an afternoon sitting on the porch looking at the lake, a visit to a children's camp, a sports workshop for kids, or simply the moment she doesn't have to go to the hospital. Monica Seles' future, if viewed by the rankings, ended in 2003, the day she played her last professional match. But if viewed as an ordinary person's life, that future is still long and very busy. Immediately, she continues to be the central face of the myasthenia gravis campaign with Arginex at the U.S. Open and many community events across the U.S. In parallel, she maintains her dialogue about mental health and eating disorders, topics she opened up after publishing her memoir. In the eyes of rare disease organizations, Monica is a rare all-star. She has the sports story to attract an audience and the genuine experience of illness to create connection. Will there be another book after Getting a Grip, or a TV show? A podcast where she interviews athletes who have faced trauma and chronic illness? No one knows for sure. But if you understand Monica, you would guess she is unlikely to sit still. The way she talks about myasthenia gravis as a new set that forces her to learn a different strategy shows that in Monica's mind. There is always a match in progress, where the only mission is to find a way to keep the ball in play for just a little longer. At 51, people often use the word post-career to describe Monica Seles. But if you follow her in 2025, you will see something different. This is not the ending, but an extended extra period, where the protagonist is competing with different weapons: empathy, storytelling ability, and the example of not dropping the racket in the face of any adversity. In the past, she collapsed under the lights of the Hamburg court and rose again after 2 years. Today, she walks slower, but still walks, holding informational flyers about myasthenia gravis, with a smile for strangers who timidly ask about symptoms similar to hers. If you ask, what will Monica Seles' future be like? The answer is perhaps simpler than everything the press writes. She will continue to do what she has always done: From the Novi Sad parking lot to the Hall of Fame, which is not to give up halfway. The only difference is, this time, her audience is not just the people in the Grand Slam stands, but also patients, people struggling with mental health, and anyone who feels their body is betraying them. And who knows, on a very near day, when you turn on the TV to watch the US Open, amidst the young faces vying for the ball on the court, you might see a different frame Monica Seles standing at the edge of the court, no longer holding a racket, but holding a microphone, continuing the story of resilience, of illness, and of how to live fully, even when the body is no longer as perfect as it once was. Monica Seles is not just the girl who once dominated Grand Slams, or the woman who lives in a world of yachts, private jets, and million-dollar estates. She is living proof that even when life pushes you into tragedy repeatedly, you can still stand up, embrace the scars, and keep moving forward. If her journey resonates with you, perhaps it's time for you to play your own set instead of abandoning your racket halfway through. We are not responsible for any misunderstanding or incorrect application of this content. Please use your own judgment, verify, and receive selectively. Enjoyed this, give us a like, comment, share, or subscribe to the channel. That's the fuel that keeps us telling more peak stories about other tennis superstars.